Hi, this is János, this is the channel Real World Audio, and now I'm pausing for a little bit my introduction of my system because I've been introducing my room and I received a wonderful comment from Optimize, and that was a really nice reminder that rooms are really difficult. Yeah, Kintaro knows that too. So why is that? Because in my previous room episodes I told you that insulating my room, soundproofing my room was a total game changer for me, and it was an absolute must. But that doesn't mean that it's universally true that you will have the same result in every single room. And why is that? That's because room is the single most difficult subject in stereo, in audio, and finding the right room or fixing a room is something far more complicated than the subject of loudspeakers. So if you think that modifying or building or designing a good or a very good loudspeaker is hard, then doing the same thing with your room is 10 times harder than taking care of loudspeakers. And yeah, so my advice about the insulation, about the soundproofing, it will make miracles for you in case soundproofing is totally non-existent for you. You have major problems. So for example, here for me, here in Hawaii, I've lived in lots of different homes, lots of different places, rentals, everywhere you look outside. You see every single house you see around here has atrocious soundproofing. Everything is either double wall or single wall construction, drywalls, and the sound is tragic. So if you live in Europe, for example, any home in Europe has about 100 times better potential for sound than here in the United States. So if you live in let's say Denmark or Scandinavia, where taxes are really high, and you say that guys here in the United States have it so easy because they can buy audio equipment 2-3 times cheaper than in their countries, and then that's why in Sweden or Norway you are missing out the best of audio. That's a total bad crap, because in Denmark, Sweden and Germany your room acoustics is so much better that if you have like 10 or 20 times less money to spend on audio, you will have better, much better sound than spending that crazy amount of money in an average United States home. So that's why I already had a few videos about room acoustics, but I don't really want to get heavily into it because that subject is far more complex than loudspeaker design, and you know that I have had probably about 50 plus videos on loudspeaker design, and I barely scratched the surface. So if you think that those videos are too long, let's say my 5-part series on horn introduction was too long to watch, then there's no chance for room acoustics. It's not happening because that needs like seminars for years and years and years, and virtually every room is unique depending on the construction material, the size of the room, the ratio of the room, your windows and doors, everything makes a tremendous impact. And for example, if you have something like you live in a 13th century chateau in Provence, then you don't need any soundproofing at all. Those meter thick stone walls do it for you. When you need soundproofing, that triple system I'm using, that's what you need when you have junk in your room. Look at that, this wall. That's the thickness of my wall here. Maybe let me just open it up here. So you see, here's a drywall, and there are the beams running here, the studs, and then that's the outside. That's it. That's all, folks, as they say in the cartoons. And oh, Kintaro just left. Here he is. Okay, I just closed him out because it's quite noisy outside, and I want you guys to hear the video. He will let us know when he wants to come in. Maybe we can follow him over there. Okay. So basically, when you have this sort of situation, then your walls, and then when you have a thin wall like that, it's not just that it does not hold the sound here, and I can hear the neighbors fart, even if they don't fart too loud. That's not the main problem. Well, it is, and it's uncomfortable, but and then you know everything what happens in the neighbor, like why is the daughter late from school or whatnot, and which details you not necessarily want, or why are the husband and wife next door fighting with each other, who cheated on whom. That's also another sordid detail I really don't want to know about. So that's one thing that thin walls will give to you, but the problem with that is that it's not just you can hear the sound, you can hear the sound from outside because the acoustic energy is coming in. It's not a barrier to acoustic energy, but it's true for the reverse. So when you have sound from your speakers, a lot of the energy goes out from your room. And the lower the frequency, the more energy is lost from your room. So that's why a lot of the bass energy is just leaking out if you have that kind of thing. One more thing here in Hawaii. We have these god-awful jalousies. I just hate them so much, like crazy. These types of windows, when you can like crank it and it opens up. And that's because there's wind all the time, and it just, just goes through your home and cools it. But that worked like 40 years ago, but now because of the so-called climate change, which is an effing global warming really, this doesn't work anymore because it's now so hot that this thing doesn't do you any good. What we need now is this real insulation, a real window, and thermal insulation in the walls, and insulation in your roof and ceiling, and then an air conditioning, because things are getting so darn hot that things have to change. And also, as you go for like proper windows, then you will have sound, you will have the ability to keep the acoustic energy inside your room. And as you hear, because of this jalousie there, you could hear that car just going on the street, and I can hear the street traffic extremely clearly. So here, as you see, this is my upstairs guest room, and it needs quite serious room treatment. It's not done yet. Kintaro wants to come back. Okay, he's in. Now we can close the door and follow his adventures into the void pipe. So, where was I? Basically, leaky rooms. And the problem here is that the acoustic energy seeps out. You lose a lot of bass. However, as Optimized mentioned, the issues with bass in your room are defined by the sizes, the length of your room, the width of your room, and the height of your room. Each of those will give you specific frequencies, specific wavelength that correspond to the size of the room. Those wavelengths will have reinforcements and the nodes that where you have the reinforcements and the cancellations will conform to those dimensions. And you cannot do much about that except to break up the room by furniture, by panels, and try to fight it by finding correct placement for your loudspeakers. And sound treatment will not, soundproofing insulation will not change those issues with your room. The room nodes won't be affected. However, if you have a smaller room, then the issues will be just made worse, because the insulation, soundproofing, it takes up space. So it can take like this much extra space from your room, like 4 or 5 inches, like each side like 2 inches, and adds up to 4 inches narrower in each dimension where you put it in. And if you have a small room, like here we have this room is relatively smaller. Actually here I did soundproof the walls in front of me and behind me, and it did not change it much. But if you have something that's even smaller than this, because the length of this room is really reasonable, but if it's like a small room and you take away even 4 inches, that can be quite detrimental to it. So if it's already too small, then making it smaller will not help you. However, if you have a big room and you have this crappy drywall construction, then soundproofing will be an absolute blast for you. It will absolutely make all the difference that you can have, that you can find. And why is that? And that's because these walls, it is not just that they leak the base energy, so you will be losing a lot of the energy that you have to compensate. And you say, okay, I can compensate with the subwoofer, sure, but if it's leaking, then you have to set your sub quite a few levels higher, which means you are pushing the plate amp more, you are introducing more distortion to the sound. And when it's leaking, it doesn't mean that the energy just poof magically disappears as if it wasn't there. No, through the leakage it makes your walls move and resonate, and everything is it's shaking, it's dancing. So this light construction, like having the wooden studs, wooden beams, the wooden frame, plus basically these paper and chalk walls on it. This whole thing, when you play music inside it, it resonates, it dances, it plays, and it muddies and mushes and worsens the sound a lot. So that's why when you are in Europe and you have a stone or a brick construction house that doesn't move, it's much more solid. Of course, even that can resonate at super duper low frequencies, but here this thing, like even with mid-range, it resonates, and that's not happening with a good voice. So what I'm doing when I'm adding soundproofing and insulation, then I'm making it a little bit better and transforming it. Oh, Machi wants to come in. Let's let her in. Machi, come in. You wanna come in? Machi, come in. So now you see the mystery was solved, and if you were wondering, that there are 2 cats, not just 1 cat. but they look very, very similar. So this is Kintaro, that's the boy, and Machiko, the girl. The way you can tell them apart, Machi has a short, stubby tail, and Kintaro has a very long tail, which, yeah, we cannot see much of it now, but that's it. If they are hiding their tails, it's virtually impossible to tell them apart. So basically, the big problem with these drivers, the problem that's even bigger than the energy, the base energy loss, is that they distort the sound. They make it not good. And when you add the quiet rock to it, that will help to transform it towards the path of a solid rock wall, and it will not resonate as much, it will not play with the music, it will not muddy the reflections, so your image will be so much clearer, and you feel that you are grounded in reality instead of existing in a horrible room acoustics. It will be still not as good as a proper stone home. So I think now this video is getting really wrong, and I wanted to make it to just shine some light on the incredible complexity of room acoustics and having a proper room. And at this moment all I can do is basically show you what were the problems with my room and how I fixed it, because even that is a huge subject and I had several videos on it already, and I have not exhausted what I did, everything, and why, what and the whys. I just showed you what, and I have not told you exactly why. And I probably will need to make a few more videos just to make it comprehensive, but I think I might be losing like half of you viewers down the road, so I think now I'm just going to get along, and the next video will be not the room anymore, but will continue with the stereo system, introducing what you really want to hear is how my system is. Everyone is bored stiff about how the room is, how the electricity is. So please like and subscribe if you want to see Kintaro more in the movies, if you want to see Machiko more in the movies, and movies, my videos, but I guess I can call them movies because they are usually over 15 minutes, so that qualifies as movies. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you girls, thank you ladies, everyone who is watching my videos, and have an amazing, wonderful day. And if you want to know more about room acoustics, I really recommend that just go after it and learn as much as you can, because that's something we all of us have to do. And then if you have specific questions, just ask me and I can help to point with some advice on the subject. But going back to why I also said that this room treatment for me was an absolute must, is that without it, if you don't have your if your room is unable to contain acoustic energy and the bass is leaking out, there is no way to get quality. I mean quality, deep and infrasonic bass, like subsonic bass in the room. And that's because you need to EQ it up and you will distort it. Sure, you can get any quantity you want, just bring in a couple more subwoofers, a couple thousand more watts, and you can have any amount of bass you ever want. But what will be the quality of that? Wow, I think I could show you guys the litter box of the cats. That will be the quality, but I will spare you the horrors of it. So thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Please like, subscribe. Bye bye.